Chapter 1. The Arrival. On a stormy night, the young protagonist John and his friends Susan and Michael decided to venture into the old abandoned house on the hills. The history of this place was wrapped in an aura of mystery and terror, fueled by numerous tales of ghosts and sinister presences. Chapter 2. The Discovery. As the three friends approached the house, they heard a creaking of doors that seemed to come from inside. John, driven by curiosity, decided to enter, followed by Susan and Michael. Darkness enveloped them as soon as they crossed the threshold, and they began to hear distant voices and whispers coming from the walls. Chapter 3. The Unveiled Horror. As they explored the rooms of the house, John, Susan and Michael realized that those voices were nothing more than the echo of dead people. The walls seemed to pulse as if they were alive, and each room hid a dark secret. In the last room, the three friends found an unguarded old book with a pentacle drawn on the cover. Chapter 4. The Cursed Book. John, almost hypnotized, opened the book and began to read aloud a series of unknown words. Suddenly, a strong tremor shook the house, causing the ceiling to collapse on them. Susan and Michael, terrified, tried to aid John, but it was too late. The young man had disappeared, sucked into a black vortex that had opened in the center of the room. Chapter 5. The Fight for Survival. Susan and Michael, desperate, sought a way out of the house, but every corridor seemed to lead them only deeper into the bowels of terror. The walls seemed to move and crush them with agonizing cries of pain. Chapter 6. The Deception of Shadows. The shadows were getting denser, surrounding Susan and Michael like predators ready to pounce. The two friends divided and regrouped continuously, struggling not to lose each other. They felt invisible eyes scrutinizing them, the cold embracing their souls. It was as if the house wanted to consume them. Chapter 7. The Liberation. In the heart of the darkness, Susan and Michael, exhausted and terrified, arrived in a room different from all the others. It was illuminated by a dim light, and a soothing melody echoed in the air. In that room, they were able to find an ancient scroll that promised to free them from the evil that tormented them. Chapter 8. The End of Torment. Following the instructions on the scroll, Susan and Michael spoke ancient words of wisdom and performed a ritual to exorcise the house. A beam of intense light pierced the window, making the shadows disappear and bringing serenity back to the old dwelling. Chapter 9. The Rebirth. Finally free from the evil that had tormented them, Susan and Michael left the dilapidated house and returned to their normal lives. But the memories of the horror they had lived through would haunt them forever, and the friends swore to keep the secret of the House of Shadows to never awaken it again. This horror tale tells the story of three friends who, driven by curiosity, find themselves confronting a demonic dimension within an old abandoned house. In a fight against dark forces, the protagonists will discover the importance of friendship and courage to survive. But the shadows, although banished, will remain as an indelible wound in their souls.